we used it to do Abhishek and we all participated in it. It's a great blessing to do it for all the Gurus. More than the divine, Gurus are more important because they have lived in the human form. That was the reason why the Sapta Rishis came as human. Agastya Bhagavan, Vasishtha, all came as human, even though they were divine, for our sake, so we can relate to them and they can relate to us because we are human. That was the reason why those Sapta Rishis came as human for our sake, so we can relate to them and know them and get the grace. And today is the most important day for all the Gurus. Those of you, before you leave, please come and visit them and get the grace. We put few Gurus here, but two main ones is our own Guru who came to the temple, Dikshadhar, Swarna Venkateshwara Dikshadhar. He is there. And Purushottama Goswamiji. It's very strange how Divine Mother brought them here to sanctify this place. All the divine energies are here. That she brought them. She brought all the energies. But she wanted humans to come and participate with us. For that reason, she brought these two Gurus. They're very important for us. Both of them, one of them just passed away, Purushottama Goswamiji. Jagat Guru, Purushottama Goswamiji. You can see his picture, magnificent portrait for him. And you know our Guru, Swarna Venkateshwara Dikshadhar. And Swarna Venkateshwara Dikshadhar was a chief. He was not a priest, he was a mystic. He was close associate of Mahapariva. And he came here, stayed with us 3 times for 3 months each and energized the yantra. Because he was considered as a master yantra maker. Yantras are very important. Our temple is so energetic because all the yantras were made by him. And who makes the yantra is very important. He was a very, very evolved soul. They called him Nataraja. In Chidambaram, he was a mentor for all the priests. They always referred to him as Nataraja because he was so close to, so highly evolved, and he was a master yantra maker. Yantras are not just the figures. Each line is very meaningful. The person who makes it has to relate to that deity. There are millions of them in Sri Chakra, and each one has a meaning, and the person who makes the yantra should know the deities, should relate to the devatas. Then only it becomes powerful, energetic yantra, which can bring those divine energy to us and connect us with them. And we are very blessed. It cannot happen. Even this last, I just came from Himalaya, even that yatra is designed by her for our sake. She's so kind and so deeply connected to us. She makes sure we do the yatra properly, we do the rituals properly. This was a wonderful ritual, Gauri Kund. And those of you who don't know who Gauri was, in the beginning there was only one energy, pure consciousness, pure undivided consciousness. It was always present. There was no beginning or the end for that. And that was Gauri Mata. And this place I went on your behalf. You were all there. I want you to remember what I say. That's a little egg. And that was the place earth was touched by divine. What I mean by that, the meteorites constantly hit earth. This must be 3-4 billion years ago, long before life started. Because life started after Mother wrote the story. So she went and meditated. That's why she's called Mahatapasvi. No one can do tapas like she can. That's a sacrifice. So she sacrificed herself. She split into Shiva Shakti. She sent Shiva to Kailas. He said, you do the dissolutory function. I'll do the creative function. So that was the initial beginning of us. So she went there and meditated intensely on all life forms. What I mean by that is every life form in the past 4 billion, 3 billion years or 4 billion years. That must be trillion of us, beginning with one Atman to complex energy like us. In this earth, we are the most complex, most evolved life form, closest to the divine origin of us. But every life form is connected to her because she infused a part of her in every life form, every Atman, beginning from one cell organism to complex organism like us. She is in us. That is our origin. A divine energy is in us. So we should relate to that energy which is immortal. If you realize that and connect to her, and we will, because you are here on this day to think of gurus, because gurus are very important. Guru, remover of the darkness. That's what guru means. Ru is darkness, guru is energy. So a guru removes the darkness, the ignorance. All of us have gurus. Even a teacher in school is a guru. But the highest form of a guru is evolved soul, who is spiritual, who has realized the self. That person is a guru. Any teacher of you is a guru, but we think of them, you see the portraits of them, the greatest gurus. There's so many of them in our tradition, the thousands of them. But we remember some of them, beginning with Adi Sankara, Abhinava Gupta. You should think of Abhinava Gupta. You probably never even heard of him. Abhinava Gupta lived about 1,000 years ago. He's a Kashmir Sai. He was a realized soul. He wrote much about Kundalini worship, all the way down to Sir John Woodrow, Arthur Avalon, who lived 100 years ago, a Britisher who was appointed here in Calcutta as a chief judge. And the British government asked him, you codify the law, because our law is based on English law. So he wanted him to codify to our, so he wrote the first law. That is 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. His name was Sir John Woodrow. I want you to remember that name. He changed his name to Arthur Avalon. Avalon is a mystic term. And he changed it and wrote numerous writing about Kundalini. Kundalini energy is fundamental. All of us, it's woken up, otherwise we won't be human. Once it wakes up, it's in Mooladhara, and Ganesha is the deity from Mooladhara. And he takes it up to Sahasrara. In one lifetime, many times, we go through the Kundalini experience, whether you are aware or not, your Kundalini is awakened. Otherwise, you won't even be here. You are here because she invited us. In this temple, you come by invitation, and you are invited personally. She's a personal goddess. It's between you and her. So that is the reason why she asked me, go and do the yatra, because they won't be able to do that physical yatra. They may not even know about that place. That place, I just came back a few weeks ago. All of you are there, whether you are aware or not. But I want you to be aware that that yatra was done on your behalf, designed by her. All the rituals were designed by her. The date was chosen by her. The tithi was chosen by her. So essentially, she conducted on our behalf. When I say our, it's for humanity. She said this is Asuric age. There will be many Asuric attacks on us. In the future, in the near future, there will be major. COVID is just one small example of that. There will be many more. So he said, I want the Asuric energy to be controlled. So you do that yatra, take all of my children, all of you, with you. And I have taken you with me. It was the most difficult yatra I have ever done. That place is about 7,000 feet high, close to Kedarnath. And that place where the energy was created, so she needed that energy, the physical electromagnetic radiation, the physical energy when the meteorite came and hit, that was needed for whatever reason. So she went there and did tapas, probably million years, because so many life forms, trillion life forms, beginning with one cell, into such a complex evolution of us. So what we are doing is evolving, not structurally. Structurally we are evolved. We have 10 trillion cells in our body. Only 2 belongs to us, rest of them are travelers in our body. And that is physical. That is physical evolution. So physically we are the most evolved on earth. But more than that, our aim is to evolve the consciousness. That is from her. And the yatra was to wake up that consciousness on your behalf. I did all the rituals the way she directed me. All the gurus were there. In fact, 2 of them were here, and one of them took me personally about 25 years ago to this place. And I know this place. I've never visited it before, the first time I visited. Beautiful ceremony, beautiful rituals, very meaningful ritual on your behalf. So you can assume that you did that yatra to Gauri Kund. Gauri is Mahamai. And she is there. And she's going to grant us the most magnificent temple. You have not seen it. It's being done now. It will take about a year and a half when we complete the temple in the back. It will have 33 sannidhanams. No other place will have that much. That means 33 templates. Inside, there will be that many sannidhanams. Many of them I didn't even know, I was not aware of them. But now I am aware of them. And you will be made aware because you'll be visiting her. You'll be visiting the temple. We hope to complete it by 2023. The whole of next year will be very auspicious. Participate in that. This is something she is building for us. And usually we build temples for the divine. Divine doesn't build it for us. But this place is very exceptional. She is so close to us. We are so blessed. In the past life, we must have invoked her 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times. And the result is this birth, where this temple will be designed by her. We will do our part, small part, construction. But the energy is the important part. Million of yakshinis, mohinis, vidyadharas, gandharvas, all the energy I felt when I was in Himalayas. And they're all here now. And they'll be more manifest when you are made aware of them, which you will be. Because we will construct and you will see the Sannidhanam, you will be visiting. So it's a very exceptional temple. There's no temple like that, designed by Divine herself and given the information to us. And we follow the instruction, which deity has to go where, and there will be 33 Sannidhanams inside. It will be the most magnificent temple. Even a physical aspect. It's more than physical. It is consciousness. She designed it. She wants you to have it because you invoked her. Not in this lifetime. One lifetime it won't happen. In many, many lifetimes, we have invoked her. We have asked her, let us wake up in me. We are asking her to wake up in us. Essentially, that's what self-realization means. You wake up the energy which is present in all the life form. From 1 cell to 10 trillion. 10 trillion means only 2 trillion belongs to us. The rest of them are travelers in our body. So that is the story. So that place I went, found the place. It is the hardest trip. But the harder it was, I know, the more effective it will be. And without sacrifice, without pain, there is no gain. Even Divine Mother had to do it. To create us. She had to go meditate. So Shiva Shakti. So she gave one function to Shiva and she took the creative function. It's a beautiful story. That place is called Gauri Kund. That place still has a heart energy. I was there, I meditated, did all the rituals like she advised me to do, again on your behalf. So you are blessed to be able to participate, and you participated because it's all mine. Mentally, I think of all of you, those I have seen, those I have not seen, but those who come Divine Mother, those who are connected to Divine Mother, I mentally think about all of them. So basically the evolution is from the mind. That's why moon is very important. If you have a good moon placement in your astrological chart, the travel becomes natural because you will be aware of all this mystical information very quickly, because moon is mind. So if you come to the temple and think of Divine Mother, and this is one way, Abhishek. This morning we did Homa. Homa is the most effective way because we invoke Agni and we use Swaha Devi as a carrier. So it's a very scientific technique. We invoke Agni, we ask Swaha Devi to take our offering. What is our offering? All the mantras we do, all the ahutis we offer. So it's very meaningful. Homas are very meaningful. Because we invoke them, we honor them, we receive them. And this morning Homa we did at 6:30. Again, the timing was Sukrahora. Shukra is Asura Guru, but very effective. And on that time, we do most of our homas. It can be done that time, we do it. Today is Friday. The first hora was Shukra Hora. So we did the homa at 6:30. It was a wonderful homa. And the energized water you offer as Abhishekam, where you engulf her. You show her love, your affection, our connection to her, with all the faith, with all the love, with all the emotional aspect of us. And symbolically, we do Abhishekam. So it's very meaningful. And homas are the most effective way because you are appealing to non-human energy, super sensual energy, which doesn't have mind-body impediment, which is the impediment which separates us. That is the reason why Guru is very important, because he removes ignorance. And the Gurus, we showed some of the portraits there, beginning Adi Shankara, going back all the way to Agastya. Agastya we have here, Lobamutra. Lobamutra was a great Rishika. This was his wife. He created her mentally. And she is considered as his mate. So today, on this auspicious day, you think of all the Gurus. You had many of them. In many, many lifetimes, you would have had many Gurus. On this day, you think of them and show their love, affection. Why? Because you want to get them. We want to wake them up in us. All the energies ever present in the universe is in us. It's dormant. We are not aware of it. So by coming to the temple and having the divine grace, the most important aspect is the grace. If you have the grace, that means you are connected. And the divine will recognize you, because separation is trillion times. The vibrational separation between us, human, and the divine is million times. Even the Yakshinis, the closest deities to us, there are a million of them here. They are that much more vibratory. And everything ultimately is vibration. Anything which exists is vibrating, and we perceive them as vibration, but in different forms. We are the most complex form. But even the simplest vibration origin is a divine vibration. When she decided, I want to experience myself, and I'll create them. And she created them, beginning with one cell to complex multiple organisms. What was the reason for that play? Is for us to evolve. She wants a piece of her to come away and evolve, and then come back to her. That is the reason for the whole divine play. So she put a piece of hers in every Atman, and every form as an Atman. That is the real aspect of us. The mind, body, intellect, ego, it's a covering. We need that. Because with that, underneath that Maya, we evolve. And the Maya is Mahamaya, it is her. But she has to create that, and let's start with zero and then evolve to full Purna. And that is our journey. And we are all fellow travelers. And my privilege to be able to participate, and on this day to explain them to you who they are. Swarna Venkateshwara Dikshita was here many times. He was a great mystic. Mahapariva was very close to him. And he was a mystic and he did all the yantras we needed and all the rituals we needed, stayed with us, and he reached Samadhi about 10 years ago. Purushottam Goswamiji is from Banaras. He has a big ashram in Banaras. If you go to Banaras, you go to Radha Ramana Mandir. They are traditional priests. 500 years ago, the Goswamiji, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, started the lineage. And he is from that lineage. And he has now been here, but he has done a lot for us, Purushottam Goswamiji. You have to think of him. What did he do? About 35 years ago, when he was introduced to me. How was he introduced to me? It came in the Meenakshi Nadi. He said, you have a guru waiting for you in Banaras. He knows you. He will impart certain knowledge to you. That knowledge you would need to do what your calling is. My calling is to participate in this temple. And your calling is to participate in this temple. We're all fellow travelers. At that time, he invited me to Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela, once in 12 years, Jupiter goes into Leo. And that's a very auspicious time, once in 12 years. And we celebrate a big function in Prayag. The reason that time, the relationship between Earth and the planets are very auspicious, and Jupiter looks at us. So on that time, you invoke Jupiter. And then your Atma realizes who you are, where you came from, why you are here, where you're going to go from here. These are all mystical questions. You should be asking you all the time, like Yama Dharmaraja tells me, I am the most important for you people, and you people don't even think of me until I am there. It is true. How often we think of death? We don't even consider it as a possibility until we come very close. And he's the most important, because at the end, he's the one who carries us and lets us into the next level of evolution, where our consciousness goes into higher level. Whatever story you're going to write about you, about me, I write my own story, you write your own story, and that becomes prarabdha karma. That's what we are experiencing now. We wrote that story. We put the planets at that time of birth, and they control us. All the happening is through the planet. And the story is written by us, but us in the higher self, not us in this mind, body, intellect, control level, pure Atma. And we realize we did certain things we shouldn't have, we did not do certain things we should have. So we write next chapter, and that chapter is this, prarabdha karma. And that's a very fair system. So you can never blame anyone, because you wrote that. And that difficulty, what we are going through, or that happiness, is the story which we wrote. And we act out. So we are the actors. But we feel it, our mind, body, intellect feels it, and that takes us to higher, next level. And most of you who are here, you're probably in your final stage. Because I know some of you personally, I know some of your astrological chart. I see quite often the Ketu will be in 12th house, in Meena. When Ketu is in the Meena, most likely you are in the final stage. You'll finish up. And strangely, those I know personally, those I get to see their chart, and they all have Ketu. So most of you probably have Ketu in your 12th house. That means you are at the end of a journey as a human. We have a journey to go as divine, as devatas. We will keep evolving. But as a human, this may be a last time we come as human. But the journey goes on. It goes on until we become divine and we evolve as devatas to different levels, the million levels of devatas. And ultimately we become one with Divine Mother. That is our destiny. How long it is going to take, time doesn't have any meaning. Time has meaning within the mind, body, intellect complex. But once we leave that time, million years is like a second for her. So, and we will travel. So it's very, very logical, fair system where this organism evolves. And when we realize ourselves, we evolve and we develop a relationship But more than that, we have to have the grace. And that grace we all have, because we won't be here if we don't have the grace. Ultimately, she has to invite us, and she has invited us on this auspicious day to come and think of gurus. So many gurus you have had, so many gurus I have had. Those who are here, whose portrait you will see, they were closest because they participated in the development of this temple. So 40 years ago, when I first met him, Purushottam Goswamiji, you will see his picture, he knew me. So when I went, I didn't even believe. I was so ignorant, I didn't think there was a real place where Krishna was born and did all his Leela. It took me 2 years to find out. Then I went there, he knew me. He came and hugged me and he said, Krishna, I waited for so many years, why did you make me wait? I said, I was not aware of it. It was told to me in Mother Meenakshi, it was told by Mother Meenakshi, that Nadi, that scroll, was a conversation between Ganesha and Mother Meenakshi. And Mother Meenakshi will ask Ganesha, and he will tell the story of this life, this organism. You tell me the story. And that's what's written in that, we call them Nadi. It's an ancient scroll. When was it written? Probably thousands of years, probably rewritten. The one we are seeing, maybe 300-400 years old. The kings ask mystics to write. They rewrite. So there'll be some change. It won't be 100% because interpretation of the scribe may not be 100%. But it is pretty close about me when it said, you will build a house for me, but you won't call me Mother Meenakshi. You'll call me Adi Parashakti, origin. The reason is, as Mother Meenakshi, I need certain rituals. Many of my children won't be aware of it. So when they come to me, they have to do certain rituals. But as Adi Parashakti, primordial energy, I accept everything. So she was very correct in saying, call me Adi Parashakti. Karumari. Karumari is a mantra. Karumari. Ka is Brahma. Ru is Rudra. Rudrini. Ma is Mahavishnu. Ri is the most important. Ri is Ringar, the oscillating energy, which is what causes the vibration. There's a beginning. So ultimately, it's scientific. Anything which you see is vibrating. We are vibrational, maybe 10,000 units per minute. I'm just arbitrarily picking the number. This inanimate object may be 1 unit of vibration, but still it's vibrating. We are much more vibratory because we are conscious beings. So 10,000. The closest devata to us, this place is full of them. I call them Yakshinis, Mohinis. They will be a million times higher than us in vibratory energy. That is the reason why we don't see them, but they're all here. We feel them. When you do the homa, you do the abhishekam, when you meditate, you feel them. But with the eyes, physical eyes, you can't. There's too high vibrations. They're vibrating, they are here. And this place is full of them. That is the reason why she said, build my house the way I asked you to do. So all the Yakshinis, Mohinis, Vidyadhara, all the intermediate energies, we call them Devatas, intermediate energies. So many of them, millions and millions of them. They can relate to you. Because I am very highest vibration, you may not relate to me. I think of you, and the fact that I invite you on this day to come and do this function means I know you. That means she knows every one of us, but she's very aware. And she has given us the grace of being present on this auspicious day. Once a year on a full moon day, you think of gurus, all the gurus, and gurus are the most important. And they're eternal. There's no end for them. They're always present. You don't see them in physical body. Even my 2 gurus are there. I feel them more intensely now than when they were in the physical body. They were here in this temple. But Goswamiji never was here. But without being here, he knew 40 years ago what I needed. So you invite me only for Kumbh Mela and take me to Ganges in the morning, early morning, and invoke the Devatas. And they'll come and convey some information. First time when I went, That's probably 40 years ago. I didn't understand. Second time, that means 12 years later. Third time, 12 years later. At that time, I could relate to them because he wanted to make sure I have the capacity to be able to do what he tells me. To do that, I have to know something, some mystical information I have to know, and I have to relate to them. So she was preparing, and he was one of the participants, Purushottam Goswamiji. So he knew it at that time, I'm going to. He just reached Samadhi about 5 years ago. And his son is Srivatsa Goswamiji. Some of you might have met him. He had been here. He is the chief now in the ashram. They got a very big ashram in Vrindavan, Radharamana Mandir. And he is the chief at this time. Highly evolved soul. He has been here. He must be in his 60s now. His wife and his family, they have come here many times. They have a wonderful temple. And they consider this as Krishna's place in West. So he's written to many of them. He has devotees all over the world. He's called Jagat Guru Purushottam Goswamiji. Wonderful soul, highly evolved. But mother brought them. She made sure that you and I are capable, are knowledgeable to know this travel. So if you know the freeway, if you know the complex evolution, you move quickly because you know it already. You are just visiting the place, but you still have to travel. And to do what needs to be done, these gurus make sure, even though they are not in the mortal form. On this day, I do prayoga. They are given us, see, you need to build a temple. You need to have a mantra, yantra, and tantra. You need to have all three. And that, how do you get a yantra? Which is made by someone who can communicate with devatas, all the devatas in the yantra, billion of them. That person should be superhuman spiritually to be able to communicate and know it and then put it as a yantra. So yantra is not just a diagram, it is life. If the right person makes the yantra with all the knowledge and all the purity and all the evolution, how can he find one? How can I find one? Until Mother gives it, she handed it to me, and they came, and we did this. Now we are going one step ahead. In about a year and a half, it will be the most magnificent temple. We had the opportunity to visit. All the Sannidhanams are designed by her, very energetic, very effective. That means we have earned the grace. And grace is not something you earn one life. Grace is something, it takes many, many lives. Only thing I know is you have invoked her and you have traveled. This time we are enjoying what we asked her. She's giving it. Can you imagine what an auspicious existence would that be when Divine knows you and writes your story and shows the journey, shows the freeway, shows the path, and invites you on certain days, certain tithis. This cannot be done by human. I would not know where to go, when to go, what ritual to do. I won't have any idea. And humans cannot teach me. It has to be only Divine Mother, who out of kindness, out of love and affection for us, writes this thing and chooses one of us to go as an agent. That's why it's called Pratiniti Yatra. And each year she will send me to one place. And I'll go and do it. You may not know, and you won't know. Many of you won't know. But at least this one you would know. It's called Gauri Kund, and we did it about a month ago. Wonderful, wonderful yatra. It was very difficult, but more difficult it was, I know, more effective it would be on your behalf. So she's very kind. So think of her, think of Gauri Kund. It's a little lake. And that was the first place hit from outer space. That must be 4 billion years before the life forms formed. Earth is 4.7 billion years ago. At that time, that meteorite must have come and struck and created intense energy. She is practical. She wants energy. Same thing Himalayas. Why it is so holy? Why it is so energetic? Because a piece of Africa split and came and clashed. And that's caused Himalayas. You can imagine the energy which was created at the time of impact. Trillion times. And these devatas who are floating in the universe must have looked at the catastrophe and seen the terrible destruction. Every life form would have perished. There was nothing left, only plasma. There was no solid, liquid, and air. Plasma, that much intense heat must have been created at the time of impact of this continent from Africa, which came and hit India, that form. So she is the creator. She can do anything she wants. But she goes through science, scientific principle. You need energy, and I will choose a place where there was the most intense energy. So Gauri Kund would be that, because that is a small lake. That water is still boiling, very hot. 4.5 billion years ago, that was formed. It's all energy. The energy is still there. And she uses that to create. She writes a story. Trillion stories she wrote. That was a sacrifice. She did it for us. So each one of us, touched by her. So she wrote our story and she reveals it to us now. That is the origin of Gauri Kund. How would anybody know all this? Unless she tells. We would not know that. I never even heard of Gauri Kund until 2 years ago. She showed me. One day you come to me, bring my children with you mentally, and I will grace them. So that's what I did a few weeks ago. It was wonderful yatra. And all of you so kindly, she has designed it for you. So think of all that. See, basically, the evolution is mental. It's philosophical. You have to think. Mind has to perceive it. When the mind perceives it, it's real. If mind does not know it and perceive it, it is not real. What is real? Reality is something your soul has perceived. And this is what your soul has perceived. And you know it now. And when you know it, that makes it more real, more intense. And knowing it on this day, in front of all the gurus. We kept few gurus. You can see them. Adi Sankara is there. Madhva is there. Ramanuja is there. Purushottam Goswami's portrait. When he says this, portrait is there. And Guruji, Swarna Venkateshwara Diksha's portrait is there. On this day, we think of them. Not for them, for us. For us to get the grace. So we are the consumers. But we have to think. And think on the proper tithi. Today is proper tithi. Full moon day. On this day, you think of them and know them what little I told you. That's all I can say. I don't have the time. Because they have done a lot. Swarna Venkateshwara Diksha came. They are not even supposed to leave. They're not supposed to cross the ocean. That is tradition. But he came because mother told him, you go and you do it. And Mahapariva was very close to him. Any temple anyone builds, when they invite him to consecrate in India, Mahapariva would say, ask Swarna Venkateshwara to make the yantra. If he makes it, I would visit, I would stay in that temple. That means it's alive. So he would make the yantra and Mahapariva would consecrate. Because he knew he knows the deities. He has communicated with the deities. So you see, yantra is not just a diagram. It's much more intense, much more personal. That yantra maker has to communicate, connect, and know that deity. The millions of them. And each line represents millions of energies. In Sri Chakra, there's millions and millions of devatas. But the person who makes it has to know them. He has to invoke them. Otherwise, it's just a yantra. Lines. It's not alive. He made it. That itself is very unique. There's no way I would have known him, and there's no way he would have come here. He was not even supposed to cross the ocean. He came 3 times. under the direction of Mother. This deity is Nataraja. So they called him Nataraja because he is highly evolved. He was a mentor for all the Dikshitars in Chidambaram. I was just down there 3 weeks ago, saw his wife and his family. And he was a wonderful, wonderful soul. And he came and did this for us under Mother's direction. Without that, this will just be a structure. Anyone can build. But this is built by her. Even now what is happening is very unique. She designed the whole thing. Inside the temple there will be 33 Sannidhanas. Many of them you would have never even heard of. But those are the energies which will be here and grace us. To do that, only she can give the plan, design the structure. We just do what she tells us to do. But all this mystical journey, there's no way a human would know. There's no way I would have known. There's no way you would have known. Now you are connected because she has invited you. That means you have invoked her. How many times? Maybe a million times. Whatever lifetimes you had, you would have asked her. Because I know I did. And the result is this temple. It will be a very unique temple. And it's a Asuric age. We are going to have major problems. As I said, COVID is just one of them. There's going to be many other crises. But she said, I'll protect my children. The Yakshinis who are with me would manifest here. And this place is full of, they are supersensuous energies. They're not physical, but they're real. Just like you see me, they are there. But they are a million times more intense than me as an organism. But they vibrate so fast, you can't see them. But you can feel them. They are here because many of your devotees have felt them. And they have told me that many times. You don't see. What you can't see, what you cannot hear, those are the supersensuous energies. If we have Mother's grace, you will be here and you will receive them. Either you know it consciously or not, I don't know. But they are there, they are in you, and we are blessed to be here on this day. Now, do I have some more time? So think of Adi Shankara, think of Madhva Ramanuja, because those pictures we have put. So think of them, great souls, what a wonderful soul, Adi Shankara. 38 years old, he passed away, he reached Samadhi. In that short span of 32 years, what he has accomplished is mind-boggling. Can you imagine somebody who walked to Himalayas, went to those places, and he has built the ashram, he has built the temple? I was there. With all the modern technology, it's so difficult to reach them. But he has done that, Adi Shankara. And he has left his imprints on those places. So when I go and visit them, invoke them, I do it on your behalf. Whether you are aware or not, I hope you are aware now. Because he has built it for us, for you. You must have invoked, you must have asked him to do that, and he has done that. And Madhva, Ramanuja, great. Most of us, we follow Vasishtha Advaita path. That was Ramanuja's path, Vasishtha Advaita. Some of you may be monist, we follow Adi Shankara, but most of us in practical things, Vasishtha Advaita is more practical. And that was Ramanuja's. He propagated that. And most of us, we follow that. But some of you may be pure monist, I don't know. But whatever you are, they are there. Adi Shankara is a guru, 8th century. Ramanuja was 10th, 11th century. Abhinava Gupta, you may not have heard about it. Please remember that name. Abhinava Gupta. He has done tremendous work and wrote 1,000 years ago all the deepest secrets about Kundalini, the rise of Kundalini, what is Kundalini, what aspect of you is Kundalini, what do you do to wake it up. He wrote all the detail. Most recently, this British lawyer, Arthur Woodruff, Arthur Avalon, Sir John, they knighted him in England when he was in 20s. Nobody gets knighted at that young age. And they sent him to Calcutta as chief judge to write the Indian Penal Code. That's how the story started. And while he was here, he met a Swamiji, a Guruji, who woke him up. And once he woke up, he realized who he was, where he came, and he wrote about Kundalini. And he was so humble, he never said in his books written over 100 years ago that his Kundalini is away. His Kundalini obviously is away. Okay, he knew all the ritualistic aspect of Kundalini, all the Kundalini deities, who controls who, and Hanumanji is the ultimate controller. That's why when a devotee called me a few months ago, his Kundalini became active, she became sick. Kundalini sometimes activates you so much your body cannot contain. She went through that, so I told her, you use this Hanumanji's mantra and he would control, and she became normal. She came, visited the temple about a week ago from West Virginia. So many miraculous things happen. I don't have time to explain to you, but it is very personal. Only you would know what part she played. The fact that she invited you, you are here, I'm here, we talk about the Guru on this most auspicious day. We are invoking only few Gurus. There are thousands of them even ahead. But you would see the portrait of Swarna Venkateswara Diksha there, the chief at Chidambaram. And then Purushottam, Jagat Guru, Purushottam Goswamiji, who just reached Samadhi recently. He has now been here, but he always talked about our temple. And whatever he needed to do from his temple, whatever he needed to do, he did it and gave it to us. And I just do the mechanical aspect. But so deeply connected these souls are to our temple. The advantage is we get the benefit. Because temple is not something you just build. It has to be built by her. She had to want to do it for us. That means we have her grace. She wants to do it for us so that we can journey, our travel becomes, because this travel takes million years. And she builds it and she gives the information to us, come and take it. That is a journey of us. And we are the most blessed to be able to tell that pure energy, tells us what she is, who are we, how we are connected to that. All the secretive information she gives. The Yatra, the most recent one, a month ago, it was very profound, very deep. It was very difficult, but the more difficult it was, the more benefit we will get. More benefit not just for us. She says, you represent the world. You represent all life forms. So when I do this, I'm doing it for the world, for all the Atmans. So we are chosen to represent every life form, not just human, anything with Atman. And every life form has an Atman. However primitive, however rudimentary that Atman is still a part of her. So you look at every life form as an aspect of Divine Mother, and she is the most complex. Never, no beginning, no end. She always exists, and she exists in every life form, depending on our level of evolution. As human, we are the most complex. We have the most ability to think of her abstractly. Otherwise, how a small brain with a rudimentary body can think of evolution, to know her, to think of her. How much more? 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I'll stop talking and they'll do the ritual for the Gurus. But think of them. Today is a very auspicious day. On this day, to think of Gurus, whether you know them or not, but they are there and they are connected to you. Otherwise, Mother would not invite us to come on this day and to do this function. It's a very auspicious event. Whether you realize it or not, please realize it. That is a sacrifice. Gauri Mata did it on that day, in the beginning. That was the first time when she separated as Shiva Shakti. Shiva went to Kailas, she went to Gauri. That's where the story started. That's where I went and did the rituals the way she wanted us to do it. And all of you performed the ritual. Now you know it, so many thought processes would come into your mind, and many visions can come. Some of you, depending on your level of evolution, she would connect to you, she will communicate with you. And that will be a wonderful experience when mind realizes, your mind, my mind, when it becomes aware, that's the most auspicious time, and you will become aware of it. But this is a story which you wrote in the purest form. When I say you, that is her as you, and you in the highest level of consciousness, not with the mind, body, intellect, ego, impediment. I call this impediment because that's what separates us. A guru removes that ignorance and connects us to her. That's why it's called Guru, remover of the ignorance. And the ignorance is primordial. As soon as we are born, the ignorance is manifest. And then we travel, and with the kindness of the nation, we understand our Kundalini wakes up. Your Kundalini is awakened, otherwise you won't be here. But you have to use it and carry the information up to Sahasrara, where you become universal. To you, there's no difference between me and her. It's just a different shell. But Atman is the same. And I realize it. Once I realize it, you become a universal person. Pain is not a pain anymore. Life, it becomes more enjoyable. Travel becomes more enjoyable because you know the freeway. You know what you're going to see, who you're going to meet. Once you know all that, the journey becomes enjoyable. And journey is needed. Every one of us, every organism has to go through the journey. Ultimately, it reaches. Ultimately, we will reach the end. End goal is to become part of her. So as a human, you'll finish up, most likely. Then you go on into the divine world. That is the reason why you are coming here, because this is an entrance to Devaloka. Many gurus who came here has identified this place is Devaloka. What they mean is, there are many energies are present here. So when we finish as human and go to that level of consciousness, they will know you. You will know them. It won't be a foreign country. You will have experiences. That is why it's called entrance to Devaloka. And Devaloka is another level of consciousness, different body. But mind, Atman is the same, but it is evolved. It has certain realization. In that form, whatever story we write about us, in that form, depending on our story, we act out. And if you know them, then pain is not a pain anymore, because you know you're an actor. And you wrote that story, you wrote the script, you are the producer, you are the director, you are the actor. So the pain becomes less and also becomes more enjoyable. And today is the most auspicious day. Think of all the gurus, and happy Guru Purnima.
Thank you, Doctor.